Bobby Lashley, he's a good talker, but not the best talker. MJF is outstanding, and MJF could cut some hell of a promos and make this thing work with him and Bobby. I'd like to see that. And MJF is believable. He makes me believe.
This is not on our list of things to talk about, but so many of the WWE guys that have gone to AEW, after a while, they're not at a level where you even know they're there. What's going to happen with Bobby Lashley? To me, Bobby Lashley should be the world champion. I mean, they need to keep him on top. But because of the way AEW has played the WWE guys, it's similar to what the WWE guys used to play the WCW guys when they came in here. Like there were no major talents. What do you guys think they're going to do with Lashley?
I believe, and I know Teddy doesn't watch AEW, but I believe that we're going to see Swerve Strickland become a part of that stable with Bobby and Shelton and MVP. And I believe having MVP in that group could help drive the success of that storyline, maybe, because somebody other than Tony needs to be in charge of that story. I don't think that Tony is smart enough. Yeah, Tony Khan. I don't believe he's smart enough to that particular storyline to be able to write it. And I think he needs to trust the talent for the most part to deliver, on their promise of trying to bring ratings in. Teddy, what do you think?
Well, my thing is this. That's a good question. What do you do with Bobby Lashley? That's a real good question. What do you put him against? Bobby Lashley?
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
Right. Mac, who do you watch AEW? Who do you put him against? Because Wardlow is now backstage. He'd be a good look for him. But just even the way they brought Bobby Lashley out in a suit, which Lashley likes to do. Yep. But if I would have brought him out as a surprise, I would have brought him out without the suit because he looks great. He's an athlete.
I think the only person that he can meet in that ring in AEW that's going to make any sense, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later, is Jon Moxley. Because those are your two big guys in that group. Chris Jericho, love him to death, but I don't think he would be the right person to work with. And you about to say something, Teddy?
Yeah, what's the guy that cuts the good promos?
MJF.
MJF. That's who I'd like to see him with.
Not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea.
Because, see, and the reason why I'd like to see that is because Bobby Lashley, he's a good talker, but not the best talker. MJF is outstanding, and MJF could cut some hell of a promos and make this thing work with him and Bobby. I'd like to see that. And MJF is believable. He makes me believe.
The only thing that would worry me about MJF would be the stacking him up against Bobby Lashley body to body, because Lashley's going to make him look small.
That's all right. That's even better. That's even better. That's okay. That's fine.
Remember, though, you've got MVP to be the speaker for Bobby Lashley. MVP's over really, really well. So.
Yeah, MVP, I really believe that he can help lead that group into being something that maybe AEW has not seen yet, if, as you say, if they're presented correctly on TV. So
here's how it goes.
And I have to say this too, Mac. I don't know what you've seen MJF lately, but he looks pretty good.
Oh, he looks good, but compared to Bobby Lashley, he's nowhere near the height or the size. But Lashley's just a freak. You know, Lashley's just a freak of nature anyhow. He's just
he's
huge.
A monster. But here's what they need to do. They need to have Lashley beat Moxley for the world title and then have MJF go after it.
Yes, I agree. I think but the only problem with that is that in AEW, the storyline with Jon Moxley and his group really doesn't pair up with what's happening with the MVP group right now. So I don't know when we're going to see that. But like I said, it needs to be sooner rather than later. So.
Well, in this business, you can change it on the fly.
Good. Well, they need to. And I don't think an AEW would hurt them to change it, right away. If they wanted to do it Wednesday night, do it Wednesday night.
This could make Teddy Long watch AEW.
That's not going to happen.
I do. Well, like I said, I got nothing against them. Sometimes I get a chance, I peep at them and see what they're doing, especially since MVP and those guys are sheltered and those guys are there. I kind of, like and see what they're doing, but I'm just not totally out with them. I just didn't like some comments that they made about me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right, let me. AEW's Kenny Omega has been out for a really long time from AEW. He had an injury. He actually a near-death experience that took him away. So the AEW star did return, but he returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So people are guessing that AEW will be next. My question is, if you have a contract with AEW and that's the company that you are basically with, why in God's name are you debuting your return in a completely different Fed? Bill?
To make sure that he's feeling good and ready to come back to AEW and look the best he can. Try it out of town. What better out of town than out of the country?
Yeah, but if you're going to New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's not like you're just going to some small Fed. You're going to a big event.
Well, here's the thing, too. You got to realize, too, that Kenny Omega, he worked in Japan for a long, long time. So, that's really his, kind of his thing there. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'd go there and maybe get myself ready and then, come back here and then get in the ring.
I mean, you don't think that it's wrong for somebody who's being paid by AEW under a contract to go work somewhere else when you first make your comeback?
Well, I don't think nothing wrong with it if AEW likes it. If AEW has no problem with it, then what can we say about it? AEW
They have a relationship. They have a relationship with New Japan, so why not?
But you got to figure Tony would be more interested in having his first return back to the ring in AEW and not some other organization, whether he's working with them or not.
Well, maybe that's how you and I would think. He don't think that way.
No, I agree.
It's almost like trying out a show out of town. You got to make sure everything's ready before you come back. Because consider him coming back at AEW and the injury or injuries or everything that's wrong with him is still there. If it's in New Japan, they'll write it off in AEW and say, this is why we can't bring him back right now. But they'd rather not have him in that condition on AEW TV.